Warning: the following LP of a terrible game was created in the middle of the night by a slightly less than sober individual. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, this is Svenshinhan. Welcome to a new little side project that I decided to start. It's a Saturday night, I'm bored, and you can clearly see what's on my screen now. It's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is a game for the Super Nintendo. It's actually nothing special, it's a really terrible game. As a kid, I almost spent money on this, but my parents wouldn't let me buy this. Anyway, let's just get started on this. This is going to be a little short side project next to Seiken Densetsu. This is probably only going to be 2 or 3 episodes long. I'm not entirely sure. This is basically the extent of the game's intro. Nothing more than Rita Repulsa, after 10,000 years of being sealed in a barrel, kind of revives from the moon and starts terrorizing Earth. And it's up to our 5 heroes, Trini, Billy, Jason, Kimberly, and Zack, to basically defeat the evil forces that we're dealing with. It starts us off with Jason the leader, so why not? Now, this game is kind of like any classic 2D side-scroller beat-em-up. It's kind of reminiscent of the Final Fight games, maybe Double Dragon, but the similarities end there. I wouldn't compare this piece of shit game to any of those real classics. Reason being is that, especially in the first stage, most of the enemies, the putties, they die in a single hit. The gray ones anyway. The purple ones take a few hits, but there's pretty much no way that you can lose this. Although they can hit you with their daggers. But any damage that you take as a human will be healed later, so there's nothing really you have to fear from them. You can also duck and make some weird combos. You can jump. There's really not that much you can do. This is kind of the extent of your moves. You can grab them. You can throw them against each other, which can be useful, I suppose. In fact, I sometimes brag to my friends that this is a stage that you can actually beat with a single hand. In fact, you pretty much only need 2 fingers. One finger to change directions, and then the other finger to mash the Y button. It's really the only button you have available to you. It's just beating them up. And yeah, like I said, I almost spent money on this as a kid. But luckily, my parents would not allow me to buy this. And this was expensive too. This was like 160 guilders back in the day, which I don't know what that's in dollars, but I'm guessing it's the equivalent of about $70 maybe, so that's incredibly expensive. I wouldn't pay $10 for this right now. And now we get to the halfway point. It's Morphin time! And Jason, using the T-Rex coin, I think, or the Tyrannosaurus coin, I think it was called, starts whacking the enemies with a sword. And back in the day, he was my favorite ranger for a while, and that's until they introduced Tommy the Green Ranger. Now, as a kid, I was a huge Power Ranger nut. I had, from the first season anyway, I had most of the toys, like all the stupid plastic robots, and I was just a huge nut. Now, as a ranger, you basically start hitting with your weapon. Getting to the halfway point refills your health, and from there, the stage basically continues like normal. They introduce a few more enemies, like the green putties. They jump around a little bit, but... And every ranger, also, if you'll notice, there's in the bottom right corner, there's a so-called bomb. I'll be showing that off in a little bit. Every ranger gets a bomb, and this is the only reason why you even have a different button. You can pick up some items, but most of the stuff that you get here is not even worth picking up, so... Yeah, I get hit. It's no big deal. I'll show off the bomb here. Pressing the X button allows you a one-time use of that bomb, and this little thing here, you can pick that up and you get another one. So usually in a stage you get 1 refill, and that's basically it. Now, this game is so easy, or at least the first stage is so easy that you don't even have to really pay attention. You can die if you're not careful, but... You know, as a kid, you're not as critical of video games, and this is one of those guilty pleasures, I guess. You know, I will never say that this is a good game. In fact, it's a terrible piece of shit. But it's fun, you know, you can beat this in under an hour, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I'll just record this in one sitting, and I'll use every ranger in a stage. There's 5 stages where you play as the human rangers. I think there's a healing item in here, and it actually changes the color of your life bar. Basically, I have more than 1 life bar now, but the game doesn't really show it, so... But it's there. But yeah, there's 5 main stages, so I'll be playing as all of the rangers. Not that they fight very differently. Where there's differences, I'll point them out, but... from what you've seen so far, that's about as complicated as it's gonna get, so there's not much else going on. You can spam the overhead attack that you do at the end of a combo. It's all the Y button, by the way, but it's not very powerful. Anyway, after this little bit, we basically get to the boss. So let's go kick his ass. I don't even know what his name was at all, but he has a few attacks that'll perform. Like, he'll start from a distance, and he'll try to actually hit you, but if you're halfway decently careful, then there's nothing he can do against you. Although he does have that projectile attack, so I think for one of the attacks you can duck under them, and for the others, it's just straightforward jumping around. After you hit him enough times, he'll actually stop with this pattern of attack, and he'll burst into little bones. He'll reassemble, and after that, he won't have a sword and cape anymore, and then he basically just jumps around, and if you hit him with the overhead attack, you immediately disassemble him into bones again. But it might look very dangerous, but it doesn't do all that much damage, because he'll just reassemble, and the cycle will start anew. After you do a certain amount of damage, only his head will remain. That's when I like to use the bomb, and to kill him instantly. And then they die. So that was basically Jason doing his thing, so yeah. First stage clear. I guess I will cut the episode here, and I'll see you in the next episode where we'll take on the second stage. So, you know, I'll see you then.